What's up guys, it's Will back again, and today's review is Kong Skull Island. Kong Skull Island is a fantasy action adventure film that was directed by Jordan Vogt-Roberts and is a reboot of the King Kong franchise. So Kong Skull Island takes place in the year 1973, where an expedition crew consisting of scientists, soldiers, and adventurers head out to an uncharted island in the South Pacific, mostly for exploration purposes. But once they arrive on the island, they're greeted by a 100-foot tall ape known as Kong, and Kong makes it clear that he intends to protect his territory after he destroys the expedition's crew's means of chopper transportation and subsequently scatters them. The rest of the film is spent with our crew members as they attempt to simply survive this extremely dangerous and hostile terrain while avoiding Kong and some other extremely dangerous predators on Skull Island. Okay, so honestly, I gotta tell you guys, this is not a flawless film. It has some things that are certainly wrong with it, but overall, I did enjoy the experience. It's good fun, and that's kind of the main point or objective with these big monster films. They're more about chaos than anything else, and that's basically what Kong Skull Island is. It's certainly better than the 2014 Godzilla film, I'll say that much. One of the reasons that Kong Skull Island is better than the 2014 Godzilla film is because Kong is actually in the movie. He shows up early and often, and he has a strong presence throughout the entire film. He doesn't just show up at the very end and that's it. He is on screen quite a bit here, and that's what moviegoers are going to want to see, the ape that we all know and love wrecking shit. Because on the flip side, one of the flaws of this film is the characters and how underdeveloped and uninteresting and bland most of them are for the vast majority of the film. There's definitely some wasted potential in that regard because this cast is absolutely loaded from top to bottom. You have some really stellar actors in this film, but they can only do so much to overcome the shortcomings of the characters themselves. Now this is ameliorated by firstly having some really good actors who can elevate the script, which they all do, but secondly by having big chaotic things happen around the characters that distract the audience from the weaker elements, because this film doesn't save all the exciting stuff for the end. You're constantly hit with thrilling and action-packed, sometimes explosive scenes that will definitely hold your attention and will likely keep you satisfied overall. Not to harp too much on this Godzilla thing, but I think Warner Bros. Learned from the shortcomings of the 2014 Godzilla film and decided to give the people more of what they wanted to see in Kong Skull Island, and that's monsters fighting and big grand action scenes in general. If you disperse enough of these things throughout the film, you're not putting such a heavy burden on the characters themselves to basically carry the film, because in Godzilla that's what they did, and those characters were just as bland, if not more so, as these are, but the difference is you're given more of the great exciting action set pieces so you can focus your mind there instead. And I gotta say that this is one pretty stunning film. Both the CGI and the cinematography are really top notch and contribute mightily to what is a very visually impressive movie. And I think the filmmakers also did some really awesome things here with the color grading that give the film really that exotic yet dangerous vibe that keeps the story afloat, because without these exceptional visuals, I honestly think this movie would probably suck. It'd be a complete disaster because that's the bread and butter of Kong. The dynamic visual experience is supposed to wow and excite you, and it definitely succeeds on that front. So there's one other problem that I think this film suffers from, and that's some pacing issues. While I definitely enjoyed the action scenes overall, I think a lot of times they feel too crammed together, like they don't always give you enough time to catch your breath before the next one arrives. A lot of times they can tend to feel anticlimactic as well, because there's not always a lot of build up to them. They can just kind of pop out of nowhere, and it diminishes the emotional impact, so they feel more like junk food than any actual substance. And sometimes they're very brief. Our crew goes about 10 feet, they're attacked by a wild beast, they recuperate for about 5 minutes, they're attacked again, someone dies, and rinse and repeat. I think the characters felt bland because you don't get to spend any significant time learning who they are as people and what they're all about. So don't get me wrong, I like the action scenes, but I'd like a chance to get to know our characters a little bit better as well, so I'd actually care about what happens to them and understand better why they're making the decisions they're making. But as I said before, all of the actors in this film deliver good performances despite the character shortcomings because they're all good actors. I mean, let's just look at the cast. John Goodman as Bill Rhonda, Samuel L. Jackson as Colonel Packard, Tom Hiddleston as James Conrad, Brie Larson as Mason Weaver, and John C. Reilly as Hank Marlowe, and the list goes on. They all do a good job, but I honestly think the actor who impressed me the most has to be John C. Reilly. He really shined in this film because he's funny, he's extremely likable, and he honestly showed off some serious drama chops as well. But in terms of his comedic output, almost all of this film's quality comedy comes from him. Any other attempts that don't involve him usually fall flat, but anything involving John C. Reilly works super well. Something else that worked really well in Kong was the music, and that's because composer Henry Jackman created and incorporated songs that were reminiscent of the Vietnam era or the 70s in general really. In that way, it reminded me of Forrest Gump, because the music really has to do a lot of the heavy lifting to help the audience feel like like they're in the 70s. And what better way to do it than to incorporate 70s music that really captures that very unique time in history. It worked really well for this film. But overall, Kong Skull Island has some flaws, but it's still a very enjoyable experience. I thought it had some stunning CGI and cinematography, several exciting and thrilling action scenes, some solid acting from an all-star cast, and some great music that perfectly sets the tone for the film. Sadly, I also felt the characters were fairly bland and underdeveloped, and this film suffered from some pacing issues. I'm still going to give Kong Skull Island an 8 out of 10 and recommend you go see this one in theaters if you're looking for an exciting and giant action film. So did you guys see Kong Skull Island yet? What did you think of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if not, let me know whether you'd be interested in watching this film or not. And as always, if you like this video, click that like button and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for much more content like this. That's all for now though. This is WillFoxification signing off. See you in the next review.